Did you know that something as ordinary as toilet paper has a history filled with royal luxury, bizarre objects, and even splinters? Yes, splinters. From the ancient Romans and Greeks to a 1970s panic that wiped out store shelves, this everyday item has become something we take for granted. Let's dive into the outright stomach-turning history of toilet paper. Believe it or not, for most of human history, toilet paper as we know it did not exist. So what did people use instead? Well, in ancient Rome, the answer was a sea sponge on a stick. Known as the tersorium, the sponge sat in a bucket of vinegar or salt water, just waiting for its next unfortunate user. And the Greeks? They had their own method. It was called ostraca, which is broken pieces of ceramic pottery with smoothed edges. That's right, the same kind of shards you'd get from a broken flower vase. But what about in North America? Well, in the 1700s, colonists still wiped with whatever was at hand, usually corncobs, leaves, moss, and a whole host of other natural items, even seashells, not exactly comfortable. And then came the breakthrough the world needed. In 1857, a New Yorker named Joseph Gayetty patented the first commercial toilet paper. He called it Gayetty's medicated paper for the water closet. Infused with aloe, it soothed tendered backsides that had been abused with years of corncob wipes. It sold in packs of 500 flat sheets for only 50 cents. Each sheet was branded with his name. I guess so you could thank him each time nature called? But while Gayetty's invention would eventually change the way the world did its business, it did not sell well, so he discontinued production. It still took decades for it to become a common household item. It wasn't until indoor plumbing and flush toilets became more common in the 1920s and 30s that toilet paper started to become more popular. Until then, people were at least moving away from leaves and hay and were now wiping with paper products like the Sears Catalog or the Farmer's Almanac. Fun fact, the almanac was so popular they started producing it with a hole punched in the corner so it could be easily hung on a nail in the outhouse. After the genius of Gayetty's invention was finally recognized, other paper companies jumped on board to create their own versions. In 1877, the first roll of toilet paper with perforated sheets was invented by Seth Wheeler. He started producing his own version of a medicated toilet paper, claiming that it was a preventative and cure for hemorrhoids. In 1879, Edward and Clarence Scott of the Scott Paper Company also began manufacturing rolled toilet paper. To distinguish their new product from their other products, they chose to brand it under the name Waldorf. This strategic decision helped position their toilet paper as a premium option on the market. Regardless, toilet paper was still quite a rough texture, nothing like what we enjoy today. In fact, it wasn't until 1935 that we finally got our first splinter-free toilet paper that was created by the Northern Tissue Company. Yes, you heard that right, splinter-free. Before this, using the bathroom could be risky business. By 1942, we are starting to receive a product that is closer to what we see today. That's when two-ply toilet paper was introduced by the British company St. Andrew's Paper Mill, which would eventually become the famous Andrex company. By the 1950s, toilet paper had become softer, stronger, and more absorbent, with innovations like different colors, strengths, and added perfumes. Yet it wasn't without its controversies. It somehow became a prankster's product of choice by using it to TP someone's house, trees, or cars. Harmless, but messy fun, I guess. Next up, we all remember the great toilet paper shortage in 2020 that was due to the fear surrounding the global pandemic. But that actually was not the first time that happened. In 1973, a joke by Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show about a toilet paper shortage triggered hoarding and panic buying, causing an actual shortage for several months. So next time you reach for that roll, think about the centuries of history behind this humble everyday item. From ancient communal sponges and pottery shards to today's soft, scented rolls. It's truly one of the most underappreciated inventions. Serious question, are you an over or under person? I think the first patent answers that question. And finally, what do you call toilet paper where you live? Blue roll, bog roll? Let me know in the comments.